we have Jack Bevere, and his introduction is, our next speaker is often astonished by the insight expressed in simple analogies. He's speaking for 5 to 7 minutes from the Entertaining Speaker Manual, project number 2, Resources for Entertainment. Help me welcome Jack Bevere.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I always have a little moment of frisson when I get up to speak. But today, when my evaluator said what the project that I was going to do was not exactly the project that I had been prepared to do, so I had an overdose of frisson. Nehru, the first Prime Minister of independent India, says, life is like a game of cards. The hand that is dealt you is determination. The way you play it is free will. Irving Stone was a taxi cab driver in New York City. He drove a cab for 28 years. Irving Stone exemplifies the insight that Nehru had. Irving Stone recalls one day in the spring of 1966, he was cruising down York Avenue, pulled up at a stoplight in front of New York Hospital. He saw a well-dressed man frantically waving at him, running down the steps. The light changed. The car behind him honked. The cop blew the whistle. Irving Stone waited. The guy finally got to the cab, jumped in, said, LaGuardia Airport, please, and thanks for waiting. Irving Stone was real pleased with this because LaGuardia was always hopping in the morning. And with a little bit of luck, he would get a fare coming back into town, which would make his day. Irving Stone was always curious about his passengers. He always wondered whether they were going to be a talker, a mummy, or a newspaper reader. Well, it didn't take long before the guy says, this passenger says, how do you like driving a cab? Oh, it's all right. I make a living. Sometimes I meet interesting people. But if I could find another job that paid $100 or more a week, I would take it in a heartbeat, just like you would. The passenger responded, I wouldn't change my job for any price. Irving Stone was astounded. He'd never heard anyone say anything like that. This guy must really love his job. What do you do? Oh, I'm in the neurology department at the New York Hospital. He drove a little while, and he's thinking, I've always developed a pretty good rapport with my passengers. And over the years, I've gotten some pretty good advice from accountants and even lawyers and plumbers. So I decided, since this guy loved his job so much, that I would broach a question. Can I ask a big favor of you? He didn't reply. But Irving Stone plunged ahead. He says, I've got a son, 15 years old. He's a good kid. We want to send him to the summer camp. But he wants to get a job. And it's pretty tough for a 15-year-old kid to get a job unless his old man knows somebody that owns a business, and I don't. Do you think you could find a job for him? Silence. The guy didn't say anything. They were starting to reach the airport. And Irving Stone was beginning to feel foolish for asking the question. And his passenger says, well, the medical students are putting together a project this summer. Maybe we could find something for him. He reached around in his pocket trying to find a business card. Couldn't. He says, do you have a piece of paper? Irving Stone ripped a piece of paper off his brown lunch bag and handed it to him. The passenger scribbled something, paid the fare. Irving Stone never saw him again. Got home that night, he reached in his pocket at the dinner table and says, Robbie, this might be a summer job for you. He says, send your grades to this person. Robbie read it. Fred Plum, New York Hospital. His wife said, is he a doctor? His daughter said, is he an apple? His son said, is this a joke? I yelled and cajoled and threatened to cut off his allowance unless he sent the grades. Finally, he sent the grades. 2 weeks passed. I came home one night and he handed me a richly embossed letterhead that said, Fred Plum, Chief Neurologist, New York Hospital. Please send your grades or call my secretary for an appointment. Robbie got the job that summer. First 2 weeks he worked for nothing. Then they gave him $40 a week. He worked for 2 more years. The doctor wrote letters for admission to college. Finally wrote letters when Robbie decided to go to medical school. A New York cab driver. His father, his son, is chief gynecologist at New York Hospital. His grandson is an attorney. His daughter is an endocrinologist, and his other daughter is a cardiologist. It's not the destiny that you were dealt. It's how you play your cards. Mr. Toastmaster.